All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Fouts Dynasty League. This is, what year is this? Like year six, year seven?
It's year six
Six.
right now. This will be our
All
sixth
right.
draft. Yeah.
This is exciting. And man, I'm the reputation for the 2022 class was that it was going to be kind of a down class, and so for years people have been trading out of these picks or talking down on this class. But I'll admit that I'm as excited for this draft as any, and it's not just because I have the 101 now. It's also just because of the class in general. So guys, how's it going? Josh, Andrew, Jarrett.
Good,
What's
man. It's
up?
good. I'm excited
Hi,
too.
fellas.
So I'm glad to be at another mock draft. Makes me happy to see us doing this again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So without any further ado, well, actually, let's cover some details for the draft tomorrow first. So the draft is tomorrow. The clock starts. The first pick is on the clock at 1 o'clock. Is that correct?
That's right. We're 1 o'clock
at the DoubleTree downtown. We are back at the back at our old stomping grounds for the draft. It'd be like the NFL draft going back to New York City or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're back in the DoubleTree now, and there's going to be food, and we're going to be hanging out. It's going to be a blast. So 1 o'clock tomorrow, and hopefully at least a few people get to see this video before draft time tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth watching tonight. So
absolutely. All right. Any other details for the draft before we jump into the mock draft round?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick on the details on the draft. We're going to be at 1 o'clock, but we should be in the room around noon. So if you want to come early, that's not a problem. It's the Hamilton room. It's on the top floor, 19th floor. Just get off the elevators, head to your left. It's right down the end of the hall. It's bring your own food. A bunch of us are putting together some pizza. You can reach out to myself, and if you want something in particular, we're just getting Domino's. But you're gonna definitely want to bring your own beverage. Everything's closed there at the DoubleTree. No coffee shop, no gift shop. So bring stuff with you because there won't be stuff to buy at the hotel. So, and come early. Come hang out with us. We'll be listening to our normal draft music. Working out details of last minute trades, all the fun stuff. So don't miss out.
Jared will have his list of players that he wants to trade back into the draft with, like every year. All right. So let's get started. Let's kick this off with the pick 101. And Andrew, you're in charge of the 101 pick today.
Okay.
In this mock draft.
All righty. Can everybody hear me okay?
Hear you great.
All right. So our 1-1, Mr. Jared Totten has the number 1 pick. And right now it's looking like the consensus pick for 101 is going to be Breece Hall, a running back from Iowa State. Breece Hall was obviously a big workhorse guy in college, ran for 4,000 yards, and his measurables at the combine were really good, comparable to guys like Jonathan Taylor. It really looks like he's going to be a can't miss prospect. So there's not a lot to debate on this one. I think he's the guy. Going to a place like the Jets, I think maybe at first there'll be kind of a competition, a committee of backs with him and Michael Carter, but he's really the guy in Dynasty. I think is the 1-1. Anybody else have any insight on that?
No, that's the pick of one. It's got to be. He's the best.
Absolutely. So. All right, so he's our 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-2.
All right, pick 2. We've got Jarrett.
Yeah, I'm picking for Josh here. 1-2. It's got to be Ken Walker. He loves his running backs. He took Najee Harris as soon as he could last time. Easy pick here. Ken Walker, he's gonna be a beast in Seattle, I think. So I like the pick for Josh there.
I like that pick too.
Very good.
Josh is a fan.
Just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, running backs are just a rare commodity in our league, as they are in most leagues. And so I think it makes sense even just for the value of the pick.
Right.
That if Josh is just wanting to pick for the value of that position, I think Walker probably makes a whole lot of sense at pick 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, despite those 2 landing spots for the top 2 guys, people think the Jets not exciting, the Seahawks not exciting. Probably bottom 5, 10 defense or offenses in the league. You know, how do you not take those guys when there's just, I mean, such a limited number of top guys that at the spot this year. So,
yeah. All right, Josh. Who we mocking at pick 3?
all right, this is the Schmergen Destroyers, and I looked over the roster a little bit before looking at this pick, and the one thing he's got guys at the running back position that are either getting long in the tooth, maybe a little injury prone, and guys that are a little young and maybe unproven. Guys, James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, kind of getting up there in age, maybe not necessarily in age, but just wear and tear. And AJ Dillon, a young guy who's got a lot going for him. His wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, some movement, Allen Robinson, Devontae Smith, Kadarius Toney, and at 3, you've really got the pick of the litter at wide receiver. But like we were just talking, our league is a little bit driven by running backs. So I've got the first shocker of our draft this year. He's going to go with James Cook, Buffalo Bills running back. So take him off the board early. It might seem like you'd want those receivers, but you know, again, hard to get the running backs. And this guy fell to a great offense. Looks like he might be the real deal. So I'm going to take with the Schmergen Destroyers, pick number 3, James Cook, Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
I
would say that's a bit of a reach, maybe based on the consensus picks, as we're looking at different people's rankings and how other leagues are picking and drafting, kind of based on ADP. But I also can't fault it based on how valuable and how closely guarded everybody's running backs are in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a choice of or if you have the option of either having to go out and try to trade for a running back or just take a good one in the draft, I think it makes sense.
Right.
All right. Well, that brings it back to me at pick 4. And we're looking at Jarrett's pick now that he traded with Josh. They flip-flop at picks 2 and 4. So Jarrett is back to pick 4 now. And with those 3 running backs off the board, I feel like all of the best available talent is just right there with wide receivers. And if the draft falls out the way that we've mocked it so far, if it falls out this way tomorrow, he's going to have his pick of the litter of all the best wide receivers in this class. And so I've heard differing opinions as far as London or Burks or Wilson as far as who the top wide receiver of this class is. And so I'm just giving him the top receiver on my list, on my rankings, which would be Drake London. And I think he's going to have an amazingly talented. I think he's one of the youngest of these first round wide receivers, and I think he's a great pick at 4 if he falls there.
I agree with you there. Like you said, he's only 20 years old, a couple years younger than some of those other guys. The Falcons have basically nothing at receiver, and I think that'd be a good place to go to get his target shares.
Yeah, and we know that they're just a year away from probably picking in the top 10 and getting their pick of quarterbacks in next year's class. And so his quarterback situation is going to get a huge shot in the arm, no matter who it is, come next year.
Yeah, he's going to have a good career. I mean, this guy looks like Mike Evans to me. I mean, we're talking 1,000 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns every year. That looks pretty nice. Though the same thing, though, it's all those receivers. It's just who's your pick? Who do you like? I could see it going any direction with once the receivers start kicking into this draft. Landing spots, quarterbacks are all going to change the next couple of years. So one guy might look sharp this year, another guy might look sharp 2 years from now might be one of the top 10 guys. I mean, boy, difficult to pick which guy with confidence.
And Jarrett has already shown a propensity of trading back if he can get something along with it. And so it wouldn't surprise me if somebody has their guy, and maybe Jarrett has 4 or 5 receivers that he thinks he likes. They're all kind of in the same bucket for him. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody that does have a guy, a specific guy that they want to come up and get, that he might move further back, collect some extra draft capital, or a player on the side, and then still be able to pick from this bucket of just talented receivers if he doesn't have that one that he's kind of earmarked as his guy from this group.
That's the truth. I'm
right,
up with number 5. Yeah, this is going to be for the Sweet Revenge. And looking over Big Rick's team, I'm looking at his receivers because that's what I've got top of the board for the next 4 or 5 picks. And he is pretty loaded at wide receiver. Let me just give you a couple of these names. Odell Beckham doesn't have a team, but you got to imagine the signs. Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Waddle. I mean, the guy's got enough depth there where he doesn't have a pressing need. So the one thing that I think he's going to really look for is who's the best overall talent, who could be number 1. And when you look through the list of names, there's one guy who really could be outstanding, but he's going to miss a little bit of time probably to start the season on the PUP. I got to think this is going to go to Jameson Williams for the Detroit Lions. Not because he's a Lions fan, but because this guy has got a ton of talent. He could zip right up the board. I honestly think that pick number 5 is going to be a guy Rick can wait a couple months on before he's full strength and running hot. We saw Amon Ross St. Brown. There we go.
Yeah.
We saw him last year take over that offense deep in the season. So I think that's the pick here. Count it.
And we've seen this scenario before. Remember a few years ago with Odell Beckham, that he had a reputation of being one of those top 5 wide receivers, and then because of an injury, he was falling down boards, and people were getting him later than they expected him to, and then he came back and he just exploded. And so and I know that before Williams' injury, that people were talking about him being the top pick, the top wide receiver in this class, number 1. And so I think we're all forgetting just how big and how high his era was pointing up before that injury.